Hello and welcome. Our top story today is from Uganda. The country went to the polls today. The situation on the ground remains tense. Police have cracked down on the opposition. There was a heavy security deployment in the capital Kampala, and in many areas, voting began after hours of delay. It was because biometric machines were malfunctioning and ballot boxes were undelivered at many places. The opposition has called the delay deliberate and blamed it on the government. But President Museveni has tried to downplay opposition's concerns. Museveni said that he also had difficulty voting due to technical problems. But overall, the machines were working fine.
I put my right chinkumu, that's what they call thumbprint. The machine did not accept it. I put my left, it did not accept it. Why? It could be that when we took them, we used a different angle. When you put an angle to me, but the real decisive factor was the face. My face was accepted by the machine here, so the machine works.
Well, the voting chaos comes as the internet has been cut off for millions of people. The only significant opposition leader, Bobi Wine, has slammed the net blackout.
As we hold our general elections in Uganda, the world should be reminded that we're holding elections in the dark. The internet has been switched off across the country. This is done in order to facilitate the intended rigging of the regime. Otherwise, why would the people of Uganda be denied the right to communicate, and why the Ugandan election should be held in the dark?
And at times like these, when people feel that their freedom of speech is being curtailed, they look for alternatives. And for Ugandans, that alternative has been BitChat. It is an offline messaging app launched by Twitter co-founder Jack Dorsey. The app does not require an internet connection. No login via phone number or email ID is needed. All people need to do is switch on the Bluetooth and use the app. And this is how it works. A message from one person uses another person's phone as a stepping stone to hop the text along until it reaches the destination. BitChat is not as famous as X, WhatsApp or Apple's iMessage, but for millions of Ugandans cut off from the internet, it has become a key lifeline. Even Iranians have turned to BitChat amid deadly nationwide protests. BitChat has surged to the top of Apple and Google app stores in Uganda. In January alone, the app has registered more than 28,000 downloads. This is 4 times more than the past 2 months combined. Last month, Wine endorsed the app. In a post on X, Wine asked Ugandans if they had downloaded BitChat yet. Wine also warned about the government's plan to shut down the internet in the run-up to these polls. And that is exactly what happened. Earlier, the government denied having any plans to cut internet access. Then, just days before the polls, an internet blackout was imposed. Museveni's government has also banned live streaming of what it calls riots and unlawful processions. A local newspaper even ran a full-page spread advising citizens on how they can election-proof their homes by reinforcing doors and windows and designating a safe room in case of unrest. The country has been on edge in the run-up to these polls. There's been a history of controversy in Ugandan elections. Polls have been marred by violence and police brutality. Thousands of Wine supporters have been arrested. Police fired live bullets and tear gas at his campaign events. This is quite similar to what happened in 2021, when Wine first contested against Museveni. Wine is popular among young people and confident of winning the polls. However, chances of him winning the elections remain slim, as Yoweri Museveni's grip over the country is firm. He has scrapped the term and age limits and is most likely to extend his 4-decade rule. And for more on this, we have with us Wambu Jehu Zigo, a political risk analyst at Control Risks, who's joining us live from Nairobi in Kenya. Welcome to First Post Africa.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
Let's first look at these elections, which President Yoweri Museveni has said will be free and fair. But amid an internet shutdown, limiting mobile phone signal and a crackdown from police. Is that the case?
Yes, you're right to point out that leading up to the election, there has been an atmosphere of suppression of opposition. So whether this has been disruption of opposition rallies, arbitrary arrest of opposition leaders, and violence from security services, including beatings of opposition leaders. So this general environment has been rubber stamped by the blackout on the internet, which has led to further speculation or allegations rather by the opposition and civil society organizations, not only of human rights abuses and abuse of the rights of people to communicate, but also speculation that this might be a ploy by the government to keep the opposition from organizing. So this being the general atmosphere, and again, this is not the first time that this has happened. Again, in the 2021 elections, there was an internet blackout and very similar scenes in terms of the violence leading up to the election. These are the kinds of things that will lead people to question whether the election was truly free and truly fair. In the 2021 election, the US government called out the elections and said that they did not consider them to be free and fair. And so we wait to see what the observers will have to say about these elections, which are happening under very similar circumstances.
Yes, and looking back to those 2021 elections that you referenced there, in the aftermath there were deaths of dozens of supporters of the opposition. Bobby Wine, the leading opposition figure, has said that if the vote, in his words, is rigged, then there will be further protests. Do you think that we'll see similar scenes to those 5 years ago?
I think we are likely to see some protests just because, as you have mentioned, with all of the allegations of rigging, Bobby Wine has already come out to say that there has been some ballot stuffing, unverified claims. But in the atmosphere of opposition suppression, amidst the internet blackout, these are the kinds of things that opposition supporters will be agitated by and are likely to lead to some protests. However, the heavy security services deployment in Kampala and in other places around the country is likely to ensure that these protests remain localized and remain contained. By this point in the election season in 2021, there had already been so much violence and death of supporters on either side. However, but this election has been relatively, and again compared to that previous election, relatively muted. Although there have been instances of violence, we do not expect the violence to rise to the level that it was following the 2021 elections.
And to finish, I want to look forward. Political analysts have said that because of Museveni's grip on power and institutions within Uganda, his victory is almost completed. Do you think that during Yoweri Museveni's life he will ever be defeated in an election?
This is a good question. Yeah, just important to also highlight exactly what the current administration looks like. So Museveni has been in power for the last 40 years. And of course, with that comes control over all state institutions, control over the military as well, which has played a crucial role in maintaining the dominance of both Museveni and the ruling party. So this is sort of the odds that the opposition is up against. I believe that this will continue to be the case. Every election that we are seeing is sort of repeating a similar pattern, unless there is a major shakeup in the opposition and the opposition unites and is able to utilize their strength, their voting base among the youth, which again, Uganda is a mostly youthful population. Unless the opposition is able to do that, I believe that this will continue to be the case for elections going forward.
Wambi, thank you ever so much for joining us. A lot for us to continue monitoring, and we'll bring all of that here on First Post Africa.
Thank you so much.